What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports here on the SEC channel at the voice of college football. It's time for my Week 2 power rankings in the SEC. All offseason long, I talked about how Alabama and Georgia were just on a level above everyone else in the SEC, maybe even everyone else in the country for that matter. And I think Saturday proved that to be true. A lot of people talking about Texas A&M or maybe Arkansas or one of these teams sneaking up there in the SEC. And it just doesn't look like that's going to happen, at least based off of Week 1. A lot of football left to be played, a long season to go, and things could change. But as of right now, my perception of the SEC really has not changed. And I also believe that there is no clear number 3 or number 4 team, because I think behind those top 2 teams, everyone's pretty much even. Yeah, you've got a couple teams down towards the bottom, but everyone else, I mean, it's wide open. The race for number 2 in the East and number 2 in the West, it's wide open. And you might think that a team is going to pull away and be a big favorite there. I don't see that happening. I think it'll be within one game when you look at that race, really in both divisions. So let's start here with my rankings again, based off of Week 1. Not trying to look too much into the preseason, but just off of what we have seen in Week 1 and Week 0 for that matter for Vanderbilt. But we start with Vanderbilt at number 14, and look, they're Vanderbilt, and we have to see them play a quality opponent before I can move them up in these rankings. This is clearly, the least talented team in the SEC. They haven't really proven anything over the last few years, so there's no reason to move them up just yet. But let's say they go out and not even beat Wake Forest, but they play them really close. It's a one-score game. You could maybe see Vanderbilt move up on my power rankings. We just don't have anything to measure them yet. Hawaii is not very good, and then they played an FCS team this past weekend. So Vanderbilt still at number 14 for now, but an opportunity to move up with a win or even an impressive performance against Wake Forest on Saturday. Missouri there at number 13. They looked okay, didn't look great. It's hard to... The SEC's kind of tough. Again, I talked about how all these teams are really even. It's also tough just because most of them aren't playing great teams, great competition. We're going to find out a lot about South Carolina and Arkansas, Kentucky and Florida, which I think we already know about Florida. But now that we start SEC play this week, we'll be able to kind of figure out which teams really are the better teams, even though I think they are very, very close. 12 is LSU, just because they lost. I mean, they've got problems. They've got issues. This team did not look like the team that I thought we would see. They finally got the offense going a little bit late when they picked up the tempo. Jaden Daniels, I mean, basically their offense all night was him scrambling. It was like you were playing NCAA football with a scrambling quarterback. That's all he would draw back to pass and then take off and run. It worked, but too many mistakes for them. Offensive line really struggled. I've got them at number 12. Talent is there for them to move up, but the way it sits right now, I've got LSU number 12 in these power rankings. South Carolina, offensive line an issue for them as well. They did not do too well on that side of the ball. Defense was good for them. Special teams made some big plays, but they've got to play better on offense if they're going to have a chance to finish really above any of those other teams in the East. Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee. They've got to play better on the offensive line. That's going to be a big key for them. So these are my bottom 4 teams. Ahead of them at number 10, we've got Auburn, played Mercer. TJ Finley threw a couple of interceptions in that game. He may not even be the starter much longer, though. We'll see how that plays out. But they did what they needed to do, took care of business, won easily. This is going to be an interesting team to watch. I think they could surprise some people. I've said that before. But they could also, it could go off the rails and they could have a disastrous season. That's a really interesting team to watch. Kentucky at number 9. Look, you can compare Ole Miss and Kentucky and say, well, Kentucky won by more points, which I think they did. But Ole Miss controlled the game better. They were up, I forgot how many points at halftime. Kentucky was in a very close game at halftime. And so I've got Ole Miss just ahead of Kentucky. I thought that Ole Miss kind of came out and played a little bit better in their game early on. Yeah, you can tack on some points in the second half and make the score look better, but if you look at the actual game control, I thought Ole Miss did a better job than Kentucky. Very close, though. Kentucky will have their opportunity against Florida on Saturday in a huge, huge game in the SEC East. And when I say huge, I'm talking about the race for second, because I'm sorry, no one's beating Georgia. No one is winning the East other than Georgia. unless something crazy happens. All right, Tennessee. I'm not saying Georgia can't lose a game. They could lose to somebody. But as far as winning the division, I think it's going to be tough for anybody else. Tennessee at number 7. They took care of business. Blowout win. Did what they were supposed to do. Texas A&M a little bit shaky early in their game, but they were playing a pretty good FCS team. The talent is there for Texas A&M. They're very young. This is a team that's going to have to grow up a little bit. Haynes King was very inconsistent. You saw him make some great throws in this game and make some terrible throws, some bad decisions. That's going to be the key for them. The quarterback position, and I guess if it's going to be Haynes King, he is going to make the difference for Texas A&M. He will give them, if he plays great, an opportunity to be one of the best teams in the SEC. Maybe that third best team. If he plays bad, or whoever if Max Johnson comes in there, whoever plays quarterback for them, if they get bad quarterback play, Texas A&M can fall quickly in the SEC just because of their youth. I know they have talent, but it's very inexperienced talent. And it's going to be interesting to watch this team and how they develop. I think they'll be better at the end of the season than they are right now. Probably a lot better. Top 5, I've got Arkansas at number 5. Very nice win over Cincinnati. Some things that they need to work on for sure. The pass defense was not great for them in this game. Cincinnati at the line of scrimmage was really matched this Arkansas team, but the offense made some good plays. KJ Jefferson, he looks better. He looks like he could be one of the top quarterbacks in the country this year. They're at number 5 just because they beat a good team. But again, some question marks for them, some things to work on. Mississippi State really took care of business against Memphis. Came out early, played really, really well. Even with that long weather delay, came back, played well, got a big lead early, and really never let Memphis get in this game. Will Rogers, he's been there a while, and he's got a chance to be one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC this year. Their defense was strong. They got a lot of weapons on offense. Offensive line played pretty well. This is a very good Mississippi State team. I don't know that they stay at number 4, but right now, based off of what we saw in week 1, Mississippi State, I think, should be ranked number 4 in these SEC power rankings. Florida had one of the best wins in all of college football by beating Utah. They move up to number 3. Great performance by them. Their run game looks like it's going to be very tough to stop. Anthony Richardson made some incredible plays in this game. He is the real deal, and because of that, he makes this team very dangerous, and maybe they are the team that's going to threaten Georgia and give them the toughest game this year. Anthony Richardson, I think, could be very, very special. Alabama, number 2, they took care of business, played great on both sides of the ball, completely dominated. Utah State didn't score at all. This is a pretty good team out of the Mountain West. I believe their coach said that this Alabama team was the best team he had seen in person in 30 years. I mean, he raved about this Alabama team. I don't know if they're the best team in the country or not, or if they're in the SEC, I should say. I think Georgia and Alabama are the 2 best teams in the country, but Georgia has to be number 1 in these rankings just because of what they did to a quality opponent, absolutely obliterating Oregon. I was really impressed with this Georgia defense, the way they look just as good as they did last year. I knew the offense would be good. I thought Oregon was going to hang around in this game, but no, Georgia just completely dominated, and they're going to start here at number 1 as we move into week 2 of the 2022 college football season. Would love to get your thoughts on these power rankings. How would you rank the teams? Give me your rankings down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SEC channel at the Voice of College Football.